Welcome to the third grade, 5th 6 weeks curriculum preview. Let's get started on what's going on next. So our reading expectations for this Unit 5 is that we want all independent reading levels to be at a level P. Very important that you really look at where the kids are and assess them and get some really help for those that are lower than a P and really work hard with those every single day. You're going to read, you see the minutes here that you see assigned that we've had each time. Reading independently is so very important. This 6 weeks we're going to be making connections across literary and informational text, and then we're going to provide text evidence to support those connections. So, let's take a look at what a level P looks like in your continuum. Here's the descriptors of it, and then here's the characteristics of a level P. But when you look in the continuum for literacy learning, and you look on pages 290 to 293, it really gives you a better description of behaviors to notice, and actually there's word work on page 292. So if you have a level P group, then what's the word work look like at that level? So your continuum is such a great resource for you to use. So by the end of the 6 weeks, students are expected to complete each week at least 3 weekly reading responses in conjunction to their independent reading. So I've given you several ideas about what you could do. We have a rubric in the curriculum, rubric for literary responses. That could be a mini lesson about what are we really looking at and what do I really want from a literary response. And then your tic-tac-toe is a great place to begin about what type of response would you like. But really your response should be, what is the lesson that you've just done, the focus lesson, the mini lesson, and what skills are they practicing? So if you have not done a rubric for independent reading, if independent reading is really hard, that might be a piece maybe in English and Spanish, just finding that just right book for those kids and building those book boxes. Another thing is we want them completing to really set goals as readers. We want them doing a PDSA. In the curriculum you have how you're growing as a reader, so that might be a great piece to include in their data folders about what are some of the things they want to see this 6 weeks in their growth as a reader. Just remember that there's no substitute for eyes on text reading. The research tells us that kids need at least 60 minutes of reading a day to move up levels, and they need to be in those just right books. That means that those are books that they can read independently without you. Then, of course, you are reading with them at the next level, and you are doing things on grade level with them so they get all that 60 minutes in. So our word work, let's take a look. We're wanting them to write in cursive. We still have a vocabulary lesson. It's very important that during our read alouds is a great place for vocabulary words, and the focus lesson is choosing those vocabulary words that they are going to see over and over again. I want to remind you, if you refer to building a vocabulary through literature, is an extremely helpful piece that helps you pick those vocabulary words very intently. And then once again, the English word study of looking at changing Y to I before adding an ending, and then some common syllable construction. So let's take a look at the English word study. Week 25 is in the snap words, compound words, really having them commit to memory those compound words for third grade. Then week 26 is a vowel, constant vowel words ending in Y. And you're going to be doing that week a lot of word sorts and reading with the word. And then you're going to be continuing in week 27 and 28, adding a suffix to 1 or 2 syllable words ending with that. So that happens. Then in week 29 and 30, you're really looking at vowel consonant words with final stable syllable, really helping them to understand that final stable syllable rule. And then that last week, you're going to be doing a spell check to make sure that they've secured those things that you've taught. Here's your academic vocabulary for Unit 5. Remember, it's extremely important that kids really understand what these words means, what they mean, and how they are applied in their reading and what they're learning. Especially geographical places, they're going to see that they need to capitalize these important geographical names and places. What's a legend? What's a myth? A lot of times our kids just don't understand those things that, and when asked, they don't have a clue what it is they're being asked. So reading at a glance, the lead standard for this 6 weeks is Figure 19F. They're expected to make connections, links, and authors' analysis between literary and informational text with similar ideas and provide textual evidence. And then the genres that we are looking at comparing and contrasting the settings in myths and traditional folk tales. We want to have them read a wide range of poetry and explain how the poet used imagery to convey the speaker's emotion. We want them to understand about the function of dialogue and scripts that are read, viewed, or written, or performed. And then informational text persuasives. What's the author persuading you to think or do? Independent reading, once again, cannot explain how important that is, that we're expecting them to read with comprehension at level P. Then media literacy, I suggest you look at the clarifier for this, the media literacy, to get ideas about the media literacy. So let's take a look at that Figure 19F. And I know that you've just had some training on reading A to Z, RAS Plus, and I want you to tell you that there's some really good thing. There's a great thing in there when you go into the search bar, type in paired books, and it gives you the different grade levels, and it shows you all the different connections. In grade 3, there's not a lot of literary to informational, so you might want to go down one or up one to see some different ones. I'll show you what I found when I went there, but it's a great place. It's got lessons. So here's the one that I found, and this is doing literary to informational. You get a lesson plan, and it shows you, and then you get the books. You can have, it's just amazing. You could use this for your focus lesson. And then you could actually use these 2 books in a guided reading lesson. Then you could also do other paired books for those kids that are in lower levels, and that could be really your main focus, is really showing them the differences, and so they could do some great things, and then putting those in their book boxes so you could ask them questions to read and to do during their independent reading time. So paired books are so great. Take a look at that. Here is theme and genre. They're expected to compare and contrast the setting of myths and traditional folk tales. One of the things I found went into RAS Plus. This is the Golden Flute, and then the other one, Shinazam the Silent, and so you could use those in a mini lesson. Also in your treasures, there's a myth. Then I found you a link about, it's a clip right here. You can download this PowerPoint, and it just shows you short text about myths from around the world. So it'd be really interesting for them to compare and contrast several folk tales. So in the independent reading, you might find them some folk tales that maybe that they would compare and contrast the settings in their level books. Dramas, creating, understanding the function of drama, and really helping us to understand. And I see this on STAR all the time about they'll ask something about a character within a drama, and it's within what that character said in the dialogue. So how important that when there's talking in drama, it really conveys a lot of things, and so it conveys the character's traits. So teaching our kids how to do that. In your treasures, so I would consider making an anchor chart first to let them know what that is, and having planting tulips on page 24 and 25 of your Texas Assessment Preparation Teachers Edition. That would be a great one to use as a mini lesson. And then in their treasures, they have a drama, the strongest one, to maybe working partners with to see if they can infer what the dialogue is suggesting there. Once again, poetry can overemphasize close reading with poetry using your Friday anthology. They're also in that same Texas assessment thing. There's a poem called Listen Rabbit that might get some practice with helping them to understand how the poet used imagery and what's the emotion with that. Then 314A is students are expected to identify what the author is trying to persuade the reader to think or do. Treasure 1 of the Unit 1 has a lot of persuasive text, so you might do some focus lessons on that, but that goes hand in hand with persuasive writing that you're going to do this 6 weeks, so in conjunction with each other. So now it's getting STAR time in another world. really starting to hone in on what's the type of procedures that we use in modified close reading. So students, we want them, let's think about, we want them reading the whole entire passages and rereading them a second time with annotating each paragraph for the main idea, or if it's an informational text, what under that heading, why do you think the author chose that heading? That's always something that they ask. And then that third time that they read it, they're identifying the author's purpose for writing. What was the reason for them writing this? And then under those subheadings, considering what is the purpose of each of those. And then they are then to read and answer the questions to provide text evidence. So that's a close reading type of procedure to help our kids. Next, in guided reading, I can't tell you how important I think that right now guided reading still is, because you're going to be practicing. You might want to go into more strategy groups as you maybe given a mock STAR and you see kids that are struggling with different strategies. So you might want to do that, really hone in, but use your level books in your library. And then also I pulled one right here about the Reading A to Z, guided reading. Those have some great lessons as well. But having those kids practice those skills in your focus lesson, you're going to be doing that at grade level, but then really honing in on them practicing those skills in their instructional level with you will really get you more bang for your buck. Making sure that you use that guided reading level. There's so many great books that we bought from Benchmark that your kids will really get, and they would be so excited to practice the same skills that you need them practicing for STAR, practicing in these books. And once again, make sure they are in RAS Kids on their learning path, and we've talked a lot about how you're going to use RAS Plus to help you. Now let's take a look at writing. We want to really be a strong A. I know at this time of year you are really thinking, oh, it's all about the reading, but I want to tell you that it's really important, and those fourth grade teachers really need you writing also every single day because they lose so much time. So you see what the expectations here, but we really want to continue writing every day. They're going to be writing about personal experiences, and then we want them explain a personal opinion about a familiar topic that they've done. The writing, and let's see what within the writing process, we want them to generate an effective plan quickly and complete for personal narrative and informational writing. We expect them to maintain a logical, well-controlled progression of ideas that enhance the central message. As they go through, does it still carry that same message? We want them looking at sentence structures, those building good paragraphs, building good sentences, making sure their sentences are well developed. And then proofreading. For all those K through 3 suffixes rules, including the doubling rule, the dropping the silent E, adding S or SE, changing Y to I, all those things that you're asking them to do, editing for those. So here's the genres. We want them to write imaginative stories that build the plot to climax and contain details about the character and setting. And then we want them to be writing expository and procedural about, are expected to use detail and word choice appropriate to the expository task to convey the writer's unique perspective on the topic. So they have quite a few things that they're looking at. Your conventions are adjectives. So I'd say, the standard actually says use and understand the function of the following parts of speech. So what you really want to do is show them the way authors have to use adjectives. These are some great books here just talking about what is the function of an adjective. But then if you look at the clarifiers, I can really explain to you about how to use and use sentences from mentor text to help them understand about how to use conventions, and then carrying them into their writing, making sure that they're writing legibly. And then once again, the geographical names and places, capitalization, making an anchor chart, helping them understand what it is that we actually do capitalize. So using stop is a main thing, is maybe during your focus lessons to go back over what stop is. And then once again, as you see in your overview, look at that because it really helps you to think about how you use writing to enhance your reading. Using the stop pair rating scale to gather from that formative assessment as they look at their writing. And once again, use your digital learning specialist to create things for those writing responses that are just amazing. So I hope this helps you. I know that it's getting that time, so good luck, and let us help you in any way.